Welcome to the virtual race brief for the Chester Ultra 100 Mile. My name is Wayne Drinkwater. I am the Event Director at GB Ultras, and today we're going to talk you through some of the key points that you need to know for the race itself. The start venue for the Chester Ultra 100 Mile is Ellesmere Port Sports Village. As you pull into the car park, you'll find the athletics track and the outbuilding beside the athletics track at the rear of the complex. The outbuilding is race registration and the athletics track is your race start and race finish. Race registration is available on the Friday prior to the event at 5:30 p.m. till 9 p.m. or alternatively you can collect your bib number and your GB race tracker from the event team at race registration on the Saturday morning of the event from 4:15 a.m. up until 5:30 a.m. Participants have the option of utilising a drop bag. We can take certain drop bags to certain points during the race itself, the details for which are on the event race page and also on your emails. The drop bag can be maybe a change in kit, change in shoes, might be some extra supplies, something along those lines. When you've collected your race number at race registration, you'll notice that there is a tear-off strip at the bottom of the bib number. If you detach that, you can then securely fasten it to your drop bag. The tear-off strip can then be securely fastened to your drop bag, so that identifies your unique bib number for the race. If you have pre-ordered one of the GB Ultras technical t-shirts for the event, you can pick that up at race registration, along with having a look at the other merchandise that we have available. When you collect your GB race tracker at race registration on the Saturday morning of the event, it is already switched on, so all you have to do is securely fasten it to your pack. There is a Velcro fastener on the rear of the tracker, which allows you to securely fasten the tracker to your shoulder strap or the back. Please note that the tracking is updated at 2-minute intervals if there is GPS signal. In an emergency, there is an SOS button on the tracker. Just on the front of the tracker, just where the race tracker logo is, if you gently push that button down for 3 seconds, that will alert Race HQ that there's an emergency. Pressing the SOS button for 3 seconds is no substitute for speaking to Race HQ on the phone. Please ensure that you hand your tracker back to the event team at the finish line of the event. Alternatively, if you decide not to continue during the race, please ensure that you hand your tracker back to the event team at a checkpoint. The race starts at 6 a.m. sharp. So during the Chester Ultra 100 Mile, we use a number of route markings. Okay, so we have biodegradable red tape, which is every 20 or 30 metres. Depends on how easy that stretch, that section is. If it's on a canal and there's no detours, then it may be a little bit further than that. The route itself for the Chester Ultra is made up of certain sections. So for the 100 Mile, we initially follow the Shropshire Canal and then it leads on to the River Dee. It then has a short road section and it rejoins onto the Shropshire Canal. The Shropshire Canal then links to the Sandstone Trail. The Sandstone Trail is a national trail which you'll be following, and it is incredibly well marked, but we'll also have our red markers up as well, and also our laminated arrow signs just to help kind of keep you en route during the race itself. You'll then follow the Bridgewater Canal to Warrington and then the Trans-Pennine Trail to Runcorn before making your way back over to Frodsham via the Bridgewater Canal again and the River Weaver. When you reach Frodsham, you'll then be joined on to the North Cheshire Way. The North Cheshire Way again is a really well marked route, and then there is a section which leads onto the Shropshire Canal to the finish. So if you have a look at the map of the race itself, you'll find that there's distinctive trails that we use to help participants stay en route. So checkpoint locations for the Chester Ultra 100 Mile race. Checkpoint 1 is on Towers Road, and that is 8 miles into the event, and that is on the Shropshire Canal where you need to come off the canal. You'll then be joined on to the River Dee, and that will take you to Checkpoint 2. Checkpoint 2 is at Eccleston Ferry car park, and that is 14 miles into the event. Checkpoint 3 is at 20 miles, and that is at Waverton Village Hall. You'll then join on to the Shropshire Canal, and that will lead you onto the Sandstone Trail. Checkpoint 4 is at 30 miles, and that is Peckforton and Beeston Village Hall, and that is on the Sandstone Trail. You'll then be retracing your footsteps and heading the opposite direction along the Sandstone Trail and heading towards Delamere Forest. Barnesbridge Car Park is your checkpoint 5 for the event, and that is 42 miles into the event. As you head into Frodsham, you'll then come down some steps which are on the Sandstone Trail, but you'll cross over a road and go through a slim alleyway, and that will lead you to checkpoint 6, which is 50 miles into the event, and that is Frodsham Community Centre. You'll then be joining onto trails beside the River Weaver and the Bridgewater Canal, and that will then take you to checkpoint 7 in Stockton Heath, Sandy Lane Community Centre, which is 64 miles into the event. Runners will then join onto the Trans-Pennine Trail, which will take you to Spike Island, which is 71 miles into the event. Really easy to follow the Trans-Pennine Trail as well. After leaving the Spike Island checkpoint, you'll then be crossing the Runcorn Bridge, the Millennium Bridge. Checkpoint 9 at 85 miles is the Frodsham Community Centre. You'll then join on to the North Cheshire Way. Again, we'll put markers up during the race itself. Checkpoint 10 for the 100-mile race is at approximately 92 miles into the event, and it's at Alvanley Village Hall. After leaving checkpoint 10, the trails will soon lead back onto the Shropshire Canal. The Shropshire Canal will take you back into Ellesmere Port, and the finish is at Ellesmere Port Sports Village on the athletics track at the rear of the complex, and we'll be waiting for you there. At the checkpoint locations for the event itself, please respect any support crew restrictions that we might have in place. So we might say that there's limited parking at a certain checkpoint, which means that support crews are not permitted. The GPX is available to download off the GB Ultras website for the event. If there are any diversions in the lead up to the race, we will let participants know via email and issue a new GPX for the race. The diversions sometimes are essential works deemed necessary by the local authority or the landowner. It is out of our hands, but we will ensure that a diversion is suitably marked if needed. Route marking and course rechecks will take place in the lead up to the race itself, but please bear in mind that sometimes route markers are taken down by passers-by in the lead up. That's why it's so important for you to have a good understanding of the layout of the race route. So prior to the event, head on to the GB Ultras website and just have a little look at the line that the race might follow. During the race itself, it might be that the trail leads you beside a watercourse, such as a canal or a river. Just take extra special care here, just purely because it might be uneven terrain and it might be quite slippy. You're allowed a pacer from 50 mile onwards on 100-mile races. This should only be one pacer at any one time, and they should not be carrying any of your mandatory kits for you. So the mandatory kit for the race itself, in the lead up to the race, please ensure that you look over the mandatory kit video, which is being done by Laura Yates. The mandatory kit is the minimum standard kit that you must carry for the race itself. If you want to carry anything extra, by all means feel free to do so, but this is a minimum standard kit, the safety kit that we need you to carry at all times. During an ultramarathon, the weather conditions can change quite rapidly during the race itself, so please bear that in mind. That is why the mandatory kit is there, because there may well be a change in conditions. In the lead up to the race, there may well be a poor weather forecast for race day. If this is the case, then we may well add extra mandatory kit to the kit list. During the race, there will be random kit checks and also potentially at the finish line. If you are found not to be carrying the mandatory kit for the race itself, you could be disqualified, or there may well be time penalties imposed. During the race itself, it's important that we all play our part to respect the environment that we're in. During an ultramarathon, you'll be eating on the move, so any snacks, any litter that you have during the race, make sure that it's nice and secure in a dedicated pocket on your pack. Please ensure that if you're using that pocket for anything else, maybe your mobile phone, that you don't drop any of the litter out of your pocket when you take your phone out. So maybe just use a dedicated area of your pack. Make sure that when you come into a checkpoint, that you unload all of that litter so it reduces the risk of any litter going on the route. This leads on to the emergency instructions for the event. If there is a minor injury, please let a checkpoint, a marshal or race HQ know. Only in an emergency where there is a risk to life or limb, please follow these instructions. Number 1, put on any spare clothing and use your thermal bag. Number 2, trigger the SOS button on the front of your tracker. On the front of your tracker, just underneath the race tracker logo, there is an SOS button. Hold it down for approximately 3 seconds and that will alert Race HQ. Please note that that is no substitute to speaking to Race HQ on the phone. Number 3, if there is a risk to life or limb, please call 999 and ask for an ambulance. Number 4, inform Race HQ by calling the numbers for Race HQ that should be saved on your phone. Number 5, attract the attention of fellow participants or passers-by by using your whistle or shouting. That completes the virtual race brief for the Chester Ultra 100 mile. Thanks so much for watching. See you on race day.